A man lies broken in a hospital bed, 6 vertebrae shattered. Doctors tell him he'll never walk again without surgery, without metal rods fused to his spine. And he says no. He chose his own mind over the entire medical establishment. And in 9 weeks, without surgery, without medication, he walked out of that hospital on his own 2 feet. His name is Joe Dispenza. And what he discovered during those 9 weeks didn't just heal his spine. It revealed the code, the exact neurological code that the wealthy use to manifest money, opportunity, and abundance. If thought alone can regenerate crushed bone, what else can it do? What if the same mechanism that rebuilt his vertebrae is the exact same mechanism that builds wealth? And what if you've had access to it your entire life, but nobody ever showed you how to turn it on? That changes today. In the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly how your brain creates your financial reality and how to reprogram it from the ground up. The crash. March 1986, Palm Springs, California. Joe Dispenza is competing in a triathlon when a Ford Bronco traveling at 55 miles per hour slams into him from behind. His body is launched into the air and crashes onto the pavement, 6 vertebrae compressed and shattered, bone fragments pressing against his spinal cord. The prognosis is devastating. 4 of the top surgeons in Southern California deliver the same verdict. Without Harrington rod surgery, you will never walk again. The procedure would mean having metal rods permanently implanted along his spine. He'd lose most of his mobility forever. But here's where the story takes a turn that defies everything we think we know about healing. Lying face down in a hospital bed, unable to move, Dispenza makes a decision that will change the course of neuroscience. He refuses the surgery. Refused. Everyone called him insane. His family begged him to reconsider, but he had a theory. If the body could break itself down, if intelligence was already managing trillions of cells without his conscious input, then maybe, just maybe, he could redirect that intelligence to rebuild what was broken. But what he did next is what separates this story from every other miracle claim you've ever heard. Mental rehearsal. For 12 hours a day, every single day, Dispenza did one thing. He mentally rehearsed rebuilding his spine, not positive thinking, not hoping, not praying. He constructed his entire vertebral column in his mind, piece by piece, cell by cell, nerve by nerve. He visualized each vertebra reconstructing itself in perfect detail. He would start at the top of the damaged area and work down, imagining the bone regenerating, the nerves reconnecting, the tissue healing. And when his mind wandered, when fear crept in, when doubt whispered that this was madness, he would start over from scratch. Every single time. Here's what most people miss about this story. It wasn't magic. It wasn't faith healing. It was neuroscience operating at its absolute limit. Because every time Dispenza mentally rehearsed that spine rebuilding, his brain was firing the exact same neural circuits it would fire if the healing were actually happening. Same circuits, same signals. His brain could not distinguish between the vivid internal experience and external reality. And this is where wealth enters the picture. If this recognition is shifting something in you right now, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of your hidden money blocks. Because what comes next connects this healing directly to your bank account. 9-week miracle. 9.5 weeks after refusing surgery, Joe Dispenza stood up. He walked. No surgery, no metal rods, no medication, just the focused application of mental rehearsal. Healed. Doctors were baffled. The imaging showed bone regeneration that should have been impossible without surgical intervention. But here's the part nobody talks about. It wasn't just his body that changed. During those 9 weeks of intense inner work, Dispenza noticed something happening to his entire life. Opportunities began appearing. People started reaching out. Circumstances shifted in ways he never anticipated. As the great physicist Max Planck understood, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. His mind had been trained, through necessity, to hold a vision so complete, so detailed, so emotionally charged, that his biology had no choice but to respond. And the same principle that healed 6 crushed vertebrae is the same principle that generates wealth. Your brain does not know the difference between a real experience and one you vividly imagine. This isn't motivation, this is neuroscience. And once you understand the mechanism, everything about money changes. But there's a specific reason why this works, and it has nothing to do with the universe or manifestation magic. Neural wealth code. Here's the science that Dispenza uncovered. Your brain has approximately 100 billion neurons. Each one can form up to 10,000 connections with other neurons. These connections create neural networks, and these networks are literally the hardware of your thoughts, your beliefs, your identity. When Dispenza was mentally rehearsing his spine healing, he was physically rewiring his neural architecture. New connections formed, old ones weakened. His brain literally restructured itself around the vision of health. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. Now apply this to wealth. Since childhood, your brain has been building neural networks around money. Every time your parents argued about bills, a connection strengthened. Every time someone told you money doesn't grow on trees, a pathway deepened. Every time you felt shame about wanting more, your poverty programming updated itself. These aren't just memories, they're physical structures in your brain. Hardwired circuits that fire automatically every time you think about money, earning, spending, or investing. Hardwired poverty programming. You don't choose these responses, they choose you. And they've been choosing for you your entire financial life. But Dispenza proved something extraordinary. Those circuits can be overwritten, and the method is identical to what healed his spine. Emotional charge. This is where most manifestation teachers get it catastrophically wrong. They tell you to visualize money, picture the house, see the car, feel good about it, and then they wonder why it doesn't work. Dispenza didn't just think about his spine healing. He combined the mental image with an overwhelming emotional charge. He felt the gratitude of already being healed. He experienced the joy of walking before his legs could actually move. The combination of a clear intention and an elevated emotion begins to change your biology. This is the missing component. Your brain responds to emotionally charged thoughts differently than neutral ones. When you combine a vivid mental picture with genuine elevated emotion, your brain produces entirely different neurochemistry. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. These chemicals don't just make you feel good. They signal your genes to produce new proteins, new cellular structures, new biological patterns. Your thoughts combined with emotions literally change your body's chemistry. Dispenza healed bone with this. Now imagine applying the same intensity to your financial identity, not casually daydreaming about money, but feeling the wealth as if it already existed. Feel it before seeing it, feeling it so deeply that your neural circuits have no choice but to reorganize around this new financial identity. But there's a catch, and it's the reason 95% of people will never do this successfully. Survival mode. Your body is addicted to stress. Read that again. Your body is literally, chemically, neurologically addicted to the stress hormones it has been producing for years. Cortisol, adrenaline. These chemicals flood your system every time you worry about money, every time you check your bank account with anxiety, every time you calculate whether you can afford something. And your body has become dependent on these chemicals, like a drug. Dispenza discovered this firsthand. During his healing, every time fear or doubt crept in, his body would flood with stress chemicals, and those chemicals would immediately shut down the healing process. The body cannot heal in survival mode. You cannot create wealth from the same state that created your poverty. This is biology, not philosophy. When you're in survival mode, blood flows away from your creative centers and into your muscles. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for vision, planning, and possibility, literally goes offline. You can't envision abundance when your biology is screaming scarcity. You can't manifest a wealthy future when every cell in your body is living in a stressful past. And here's the devastating truth. Most people spend 90% of their waking hours in some form of stress response. They're trying to create wealth while their body is locked in poverty chemistry. But Dispenza found the exact method to break this cycle. Breaking the habit. Dispenza calls it breaking the habit of being yourself, and it's the most uncomfortable concept you'll ever encounter, because your personality creates your personal reality. Let that land. Personality. The way you think, the way you act, the way you feel. These three elements combined create your personality, and your personality is producing your personal reality, including your financial reality, on autopilot every single day. You wake up and immediately think the same thoughts as yesterday. Those thoughts produce the same feelings. Those feelings drive the same actions. Those actions create the same results. As the philosopher William James wrote, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." When Dispenza was lying in that hospital bed, he had to become someone new to heal. He couldn't be the same person and expect a different biological outcome. New person, new reality. The same applies to wealth. You cannot become wealthy while remaining the same person who created your current financial situation. You must literally become someone else neurologically, emotionally, behaviorally. And this is where the practical application begins, because Dispenza didn't just theorize about this. He developed a precise method for doing it. And that method starts with the most counterintuitive step imaginable: the void. The method begins with nothingness, complete, terrifying nothingness. Dispenza calls it the quantum field. Science calls it the gap between thoughts. Before you can become someone new, you must first become no one. During his healing, Dispenza discovered that the moment between his old self and his new self was a void. A space where he was no longer the injured man but hadn't yet become the healed man. And this void terrified him, because in that space there's no identity, no familiar thoughts, no comfortable emotions, no habitual behaviors, just pure potential. And this is exactly where most people fail with wealth manifestation. They try to jump from poor to rich without passing through the void. They want to keep their old identity and just add money to it. You must surrender who you have been to become who you are meant to be. But that's not how neuroplasticity works. The old circuits must weaken before new ones can strengthen. You must let go of the person who is broke before you can become the person who is wealthy. This means sitting in meditation and actively dismantling your old financial identity, observing your poverty thoughts without reacting to them, watching your scarcity emotions without feeding them, until you reach that void, that terrifying, liberating void. And from that emptiness, you build your new wealthy self. But how exactly do you build it? That's where Dispenza's technique gets remarkably specific. Wealth rehearsal. Here is the exact protocol. The same one that healed 6 shattered vertebrae now applied to financial transformation. Step 1. Enter the void. Meditate until you've moved beyond your familiar thoughts and emotions. Step 2. Create a clear intention, not vague wishes. Specific, detailed vision of your financial reality. How much, from where, doing what. Step 3. Combine that vision with elevated emotion. 1. Feel the gratitude of already having it. 2. Experience the freedom in your body. 3. Let the joy become real in your cells. 4. Hold it until your body believes it. Step 4. Rehearse it mentally with the same intensity Dispenza used to rebuild his spine. Every detail, the numbers in your account, the conversations you'd have, the decisions you'd make, the person you'd be. As Neville Goddard taught decades earlier, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. Step 5. Do this daily until your body is so conditioned to this new identity that it feels more natural than your old one. Repetition rewires reality. This isn't a weekend exercise. Dispenza spent 12 hours a day for 9 weeks healing his spine. The wealthy do this with money every single day of their lives, whether they know it or not. They rehearse abundance until it becomes automatic. And there's one final piece that makes this entire system work: becoming wealth. The final piece is this: you don't attract wealth, you become it. Dispenza didn't attract healing. He became a healed person before his body caught up. His mind changed first. His emotions followed. His biology responded last. And this is the deepest truth about financial transformation. You must become the person who is wealthy at a neurological level before the external circumstances rearrange themselves to match. This means thinking as a wealthy person thinks, feeling as a wealthy person feels, making decisions as a wealthy person would make them, not after you have money, before. Your external reality is always a reflection of your internal state. When Dispenza's internal state became one of wholeness, his body rebuilt itself. When your internal state becomes one of abundance, your finances will restructure themselves accordingly, not because of magic, because of measurable changes in your neural architecture, your neurochemistry, your gene expression, and your behavioral patterns. As Dispenza himself says, if you can't get beyond your stress, your problems, your pain, you can't create a new future. The question is not whether this works. A man rebuilt 6 crushed vertebrae with his mind. The question is whether you're willing to do the work. Are you willing to sit in that void? Are you willing to feel the discomfort of becoming someone new? Because the mechanism is proven. The neuroscience is documented. The only variable left is you. Joe Dispenza lay broken in a hospital bed with 6 shattered vertebrae and a medical establishment telling him his only option was permanent metal rods in his spine. He chose differently. He chose to use the same intelligence that grew him from 2 cells into a complex human being to rebuild what was destroyed. And in 9 weeks, the impossible happened. Mind over matter proven. If thought can regenerate crushed bone, if mental rehearsal can override a medical death sentence, then what excuse do any of us have for accepting financial limitation? The neural circuits that kept you broke are not permanent. They were installed by accident, by environment, by repetition. And they can be uninstalled the same way, through new thoughts, elevated emotions, and relentless mental rehearsal of the person you are becoming. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your reality. If you made it this far, comment "spine of gold" to prove you understand that the same force that heals bone can build wealth. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it. If this video exposed something in you, subscribe. There's more to uncover.